On 9/11, I was in a meeting at the office when we got notification that the first tower was hit. We had cable at the office, so we turned in and started watching the news. The horrific, event that was occurring before our eyes. And it was just a sad moment. So my office, my life, pretty much stopped on 9/11 as we watched everything that was unfolding on the East Coast. So.
Well, we were working in our office when we received a phone call saying to turn the TV on, that there was something happening to national security, and we sat and watched for hours as all the events unfolded. And we weren't really busy that day other than keeping track of what was going on TV, but I'll never forget that day. So.
I just remember I was homeschooled, and I remember we were getting ready for school that day, and my sister came down and she said to us, there's been some planes that hit these buildings in New York, and I think it was only about 10, so I was just like, what? And she said, something like this happened a few years ago or something. I don't know if she knew what she was talking about, but we all ran upstairs and we sat in front of the TV watching what was happening, and I guess we didn't get a lot of school done that day, but I think it was kind of afterwards, as the following week, that I really started understanding what had happened, and just the intensity of all of it.
On 9/11 in 2001, I was actually in between jobs on September 11th, and I was down watching CNN, and it just happened. They show this airplane flying into the World Trade Center, and I'm just like, holy smokes, how could that be? And I'm just continuing to watch, told my wife about it, and she was watching, and then the second plane came through, and I thought, holy smokes, this is not an accident. Somebody's attacking us. This is on purpose. And it was just stunned disbelief as to what had happened. Ended up watching the news pretty much all day long, and just felt this pit in my stomach as to what we could do and who would be doing this.
When 9/11 happened, I remember I was a junior in college, and I was up in Moorhead, and I had just gotten out of class, and they had TVs set up all around our student center, and I remember seeing it on the TV and not even understanding what is going on, and the rest of the day everything got canceled, and we went home and pretty much watched the news the rest of the day. What'd you do?
Me too. I was in college. I was in Fargo, and I wasn't out of bed yet, and I had a roommate wake me up, and he was like, hey, we're under attack. And so I went out and I watched TV, and my classes didn't get canceled. So I went to class, but I found out that we didn't really do anything. We just watched the news the rest of the day. It was sort of a long day.
Yeah.
I was in school. I was 7th grade, I believe, Southwest. I was in the choir room with a lot of other people, and they turned the news on and we watched it on TV for a while. That's about it. I don't think they really wanted to tell us much because they didn't want to worry us.
On 9/11, I was teaching 5th grade in New Richland, and I was on my break and happened to be walking down the hall, and there was a TV on in another classroom, and it was showing the planes hitting the towers. And my son was out in New York, and a few minutes, well, not too long later, I got a phone call that he was at he was out there training for Continental Airlines, and he called to tell me he was okay, but he had seen the planes go into the towers from where he was. And so then when the kids came back to the classroom, we turned on the TV so they could see what was going on. And David was so scared and nervous. He wanted to come home, but of course he couldn't. He wanted to rent a plane and fly home, but you couldn't do that. You couldn't fly any place. And so he just had to stay out there for a few days before he could come home. And I remember him telling he took someone to the hospital because they couldn't breathe because of the dust and the smoke, and he said the smell of human flesh burning was worse than going into a pig barn. It was just awful.